100 and something million deciding to be unvaccinated, and that was the decision. Because contract, get vaccinated or be unvaccinated, and there's a level of uncertainty of your future, whether you're going to be in this league, whether you're going to be on this team. So I had to deal with that real life circumstance of losing my job for this decision.
Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving there is saying he ended up foregoing up to $100 million due to his decision to avoid vaccination against COVID-19. At the Nets Media Day on Monday, Irving revealed that his vaccine stance cost him a 4-year contract extension. The 30-year-old says he was made to feel as if a new deal was contingent on him getting vaccinated.
Appreciate how me being unvaccinated all of a sudden came to be a stigma within my career, that I don't want to play, or I'm willing to give up everything to be a voice for the voiceless, and which I will stand on here and say that that wasn't the only intent that I had, was to be in a voice of the voiceless. It was to stand on something that was going to be bigger than myself, and that I was going to understand probably far into the future. You know, I don't know when.
Now, the Nets general manager, Sean Marks, denied Kyrie's suggestion he had been given an ultimatum by the franchise. He said, "There's no ultimatum being given here." Again, it goes back to, you want people who are reliable, people who are here and accountable. All of us, staff, players, coaches, you name it. It's not giving somebody an ultimatum to get a vaccine. That's a completely personal choice. I stand by Kyrie. I think if he wants, he's made that choice. That's his prerogative completely. Lance, let me hear you on this.
Well, it's an issue that we had discussed in detail last year when we were going through the process. And as an adult, he has freedom of choice. You know, no one can tell him what to do. But the rules surrounding your eligibility to play were very clear. And he knew that if he stuck by his decision that he didn't want to be vaccinated, then there would be repercussions with regard to, you know, which games he could play, because he couldn't play his home games. You know, it's said that he has lost over $100 million based on his decision not to play. For him, well, for anybody, that's a lot of money, but he still has a lot of money outside of $100 million. So for me, it's kind of a non-story.
The thing is this, and this is what people need to understand. You have to reason this one through to look at a couple different sides. Kyrie Irving, as you correctly noted, is likely to have several $100 million in the bank. For Kyrie Irving, foregoing $100 million is nothing.
Yes.
Let me look directly into the camera when I say this, Lance.
Yes.
For Kyrie Irving, given his wealth and his potential earning power at only 30 years old, giving up $100 million is literally nothing to him. So he said that to make it look like it was a huge sacrifice on his part. It wasn't. Because if it is that $100 million meant something, were he a rookie who had come from poverty, just climbed to the NBA, and this was his bonanza moment with a contract, we wouldn't be talking about this because he'd have gotten vaccinated. But he can afford to put his beliefs in front of everything else, as he has a right to.
Yes.
So, to say I forego $100 million is not to say anything, because a man who can afford to do that, it's like nothing to him. That's one. The second thing is this. What if 12 other people on the Brooklyn Nets playing roster adopted his stance at the time? It would mean the Nets would hardly have been likely to field a team. So, the people who abided by the rules and got vaccinated, they held up the business, kept it as a going concern, while Kyrie was at home fuming over being forced into an ultimatum that he's decided to put his personal interests first and not play. Let me go again.
Yes.
Others who played by the rules ensured that Kyrie Irving had a team and a contract to come back to when he felt he was okay to come back, or when the rules were modified as the authorities learned more about COVID and how to manage it. So you can look at it and say, look at him being selfish, because while he was doing things his way, others sought to do it the team's way and kept the team alive. Not everybody on the Brooklyn Nets is a multimillionaire like Kyrie is.
No.
So other players needed the money. And the other players who took the vaccine, as far as I know, none of them dropped down dead yet, Lance. Let me just go in the vernacular.
Yes.
Nobody's has had sexual dysfunction or whatever, or had health issues since taking the vaccine. But at the same time, Kyrie Irving, as we said then, I'm saying it again, is within his right as an individual to opt not to take it. But don't make it seem as if, look at the size of the sacrifice I made by not taking the vaccine. I left 100 million US on the table. That's not a point, Kyrie, for you. Yeah? And again, people have a right to make the right decision, but sometimes the decisions that other people make benefit you who believe that you're striking off a principle. Because the others who said, let's do it, they ensured that you have a team that you can rejoin. They ensured that you can still get paid. They ensured that the Nets were able to play basketball.
Yeah, and I like the response that the Nets general manager, Sean Marks, gave, because he made it clear that Kyrie Irving is an adult. He's free to make his own choices, but he sort of de-escalated the potential of any conflict.
Yes.
And he was very measured in what he said. So I'm fine either way.
Absolutely. So, all right, Irving missed about 2/3 of last season due to his unvaccinated status. New York City, where the Nets are based, they're based at the Brooklyn Center, they recently ended their private employer vaccine mandate. Now, that announcement prompted Irving to describe vaccine mandates as one of the biggest violations of human rights. This is what he tweeted. If I can work and be unvaccinated, then all of my brothers and sisters who are also unvaccinated should be able to do the same without being discriminated against, vilified, or fired. This enforced vaccine pandemic is one of the biggest violations of human rights in history. This tweet, Lance, from a college-educated, conscious, intelligent man, multimillionaire, is one of the biggest piles of you-know-what I've ever seen. Well, not I've ever seen. That I've seen in a long time. Yeah. That's what I'll say about that.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of animosity between vaccinated and unvaccinated as far as the mindset is concerned. And I believe that a lot of the narrative that I encountered from the non-vaccinated fans would have been born out of a disconnect with what governance and government and administration's role is. Because it is easy for me as someone who doesn't govern millions of people to say this is my opinion. But when you have the responsibility of governing millions of people, and you are forced to be guided by what the medical experts are saying and so on, I find it hard to understand the narrative that a Kyrie Irving is coming from. And now, because things are being relaxed, he's making it look as if they were right in the first place not to be, to insist on not being vaccinated. But this is a different time. We are 2.5 years on from the onset of COVID, and what pertains now, based on the knowledge of the pandemic and the extent to which the pandemic can do damage, is different from what it was 2 years ago.
And there is no doubt, the last thing I'll say there, and there is no doubt, the fact that a significant number of people around the world got vaccinated is what has caused the world to continue to the point where we are looking now even more to normalize living with COVID.
Yes.
And our COVID skeptic producer is telling me to wrap.
Wrap the segment.
I'm gonna
because
wrap.
of what you just said.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We wrap. Obey the producer.